At my other work, I had a meeting with the 3 new apprentices that have started in January.
Yeah.
And I was asking, what have you found hard since like starting? Because they're all like 15 or 16.
Oh, damn.
And I'm like, what have you found hard since you've moved into full-time work and stuff? And one was like, getting up early. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. And we're like, what time do you get up? He's like,
Oh, no.
well, get up at 4:30. And the other 2 are like, what? 4:30? Why you get up so early? And he's like, well, I don't want to be late. So I get up and then I'll have a shower, have breakfast, and then I'll go back to sleep for half an hour. I'm like, what?
Sorry?
Why don't you? I'm like, what?
I think
like
that's worse. Yeah, that would
absolutely.
make you feel so much worse.
Sometimes I just sit on the end of the bed like this.
That's a hip problem.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chip Lunch Podcast. It's exciting. I always want to try and make my co-host laugh with the intro, and I've done so again. And my co-host today is Tim. Welcome, Tim.
Welcome, Charles. Sorry, every time you say welcome back, I can't but think of the 12th man.
Welcome back.
We said this last week.
Yep. Well, same as last week. Welcome back to the Wacker today. We're at the Wacker.
Oh, very exciting.
I don't play at the Wacker
We're a few
anymore.
hours behind.
Yes. No, we're nice and early today.
Nice and
I would like to welcome our guest today on the Chip Lunch Podcast, Chloe.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's very special to have you on here. The special guest. If anyone wonders what we're talking about Chloe's shoes.
Yeah, I was going to say you better.
We were talking about how to pronounce an Adidas
Spazials.
Spazials. You even said it with an A then, Spazials. It sounded like you said it with an A, but
It's like, I had to check if it had an A in it.
we think it's Spezial.
Spezial?
Spezial.
Yeah. We're not quite
It's
sure if it's
German.
supposed to be German or Italian.
Yeah. You think it's German?
Well, I just assumed
'Cause it
German
is
because
an
of Adidas.
Adidas
But
brand.
you've put in a worthy counter-argument. that maybe
Spezial.
it should be Italian.
Yeah, and like I said, it might have an E on the end if it's Italian. So Speziale. Back to doing accents at the end. Happens a lot on Chip Lunch.
It does.
Yeah. Chloe, you said you're feeling nervous when the camera's on. Oh no, you said you were feeling nervous,
I like
but when
being
the
in front of a camera.
when the camera turns on, just ready to go.
Is that your impression of me?
No, that was an impression of me, you doing a character.
Oh, yeah, I do like being in front of a camera, but I just don't know what to talk about anyway. So I'm not nervous.
That's good.
Well, we've been talking for like 20 minutes already, so
We have.
I can do that
And guys, that's the unreleased content you won't get to see unless you pay us $100 a month
on Patreon.
on the Patreon. We'll get rid of the church deficit if we do that.
Yeah.
Maybe that, yeah. If you want to see the cancel cut from Joel, you need to pay off the church deficit first, and then you can see it.
Boom.
Boom. Boom. How's that sound?
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to the council cut.
Oh, we should call it a special cut.
Special cut.
Special
cut.
Yo.
See, that's where I was going, guys. Playing 4D chess here. You're allowed to laugh. It's okay. Or you're just like, oh wow.
All chess 4D because it's a 3D board and you're playing in time.
Oh my gosh. Now we really are. It's just 5D.
Well, what's the fifth
I'm
dimension?
so
Stop adding all the
confused.
dimensions. What did you say?
I'm confused.
I'm confused. Stop talking.
String theory.
String. I don't know.
9
Is there?
dimensions.
Is there?
Apparently.
Oh.
I don't know. That's about all I know.
Is that right? Oh, Luke is nodding.
Luke is
We've got
nodding?
2 podcast producers today,
Yeah.
and Luca is nodding and saying, "Yep, you're getting closer at
Yep,
least."
yep.
Yeah. For
We'll
an
get
idiot, you're doing well.
We'll get Luca in to explain Stephen
9.
Hawking's approach to physics later.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah,
Everyone tunes out.
yeah,
And we just lost the audience.
I don't know. I'm willing to listen to Luca talk. You guys may not be. But
Oh,
I am.
wow. Power games.
Power games. Power games. Chloe.
Hello.
I do like your quilted jumper too. I was going to say.
Thank you.
I do like to comment on people's clothes when they come on more because I can't think of what to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Having said
Don't
that,
out yourself.
go keep telling me you love my clothes. Let's start with the first question.
Okay.
How do you like to eat your hot chips?
I like them when they're really crispy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when you when you get a thing of chips and like at the bottom there's like those fully crisp bits.
And the
I love those.
tiny little bits.
Yeah, and they're like darker because
Yep.
they're like fully just crisp. I love that. And chicken salt. Always chicken
Oh,
salt. A lot of
no.
chicken salt. What?
How do you not know this? This is the ongoing battle on
No,
chip
I
lunch.
have seen this, but I just don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand you. I mean, we're just two people from two different worlds that really just,
I just,
We're orbiting
what's wrong
each
with
other.
chicken salt though?
it's fake.
But it tastes so good.
Yeah, but it's for people that are just pretending. It's a facade.
Do you like chicken salt?
I'd really like chicken salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
like normal.
That's the Australian way, Joel.
Yeah, that is the
the
Australian
normal
way.
Australian
Come on.
way.
You know, I didn't
No,
know.
it
Here
isn't.
you are, you
No, it isn't.
Vegemite, pie
Chicken-
hating,
Just stop for a
chicken
sec.
salt hating.
You
That's
hate
enough
pies
from you.
too.
Australian.
Chicken salt was made for expats, English expats that came to Australia, especially in South Australia. That's what it was made for. So it's
Okay.
not Australian at all.
Well, it is now.
Hold on, but it was made
of our
for them
culture.
in Australia.
Yeah, by an English guy.
Yeah, in Australia.
Yeah, facts.
Oh,
Got him there.
Come on.
No, you know, I didn't know chicken salt was just like in Australia until, so like at work, half of my team is from like the UK now.
Oh, okay.
And we have a girl that just moved here like literally like 3 weeks ago. And I think I said something like chicken salt. And she was like, what's that? And I was like, girl, what? And I was like, go to a chicken shop, get some chips, say, get the chicken salt and try it. It will change your life.
Yeah, right.
I don't think she's done it yet. But I didn't know that was a thing. And then they're like, yeah, chicken salt doesn't exist there.
Yeah.
That's
See, it doesn't
so
exist
sad.
in the UK.
So maybe you should move.
Thereby.
That's so sad. Yeah, definitely chicken salt, like a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chicken
yeah,
salt.
that's even worse.
You have to say though, I was at Grilled yesterday. Friend of the
Overrated.
podcast, Jen Phillips, and I.
Oh, Jen,
caught up.
the Soroval adjacent.
Sorrow adjacent, Jen Phillips. And two things. One is that they don't do chicken salt, they do
The herb thing.
The herb
Yeah.
and salt. Perfect. But come back to your other point. By the time we had gotten to the end of the chip thing, it was all the extra crispy ones.
Oh,
that does happen.
Winning.
Chef's
Yeah,
keys.
those are so good.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and super hot chips. I hate when they're like a little bit cold
Oh,
or
you
like
can't.
soggy, obviously.
I bring this up every time.
But that's
But
just
Wang's cold soggy chips is no good.
who's?
See, you got to listen to this episode, guys. This is the. It's like
Yeah.
not the lost episode.
The lost.
It's like the worst episode,
The fan favourite.
the fan favorite because cult classic.
Cult classic. Oh, yes.
Sorry, I explained this even on the last one, but last episode with Craig. But Wang likes to order chips from Macca's via Uber Eats because they
Oh.
get cold. But then he sometimes has chips and puts them in the fridge and eats them the next day.
Intentionally.
He's like,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, exactly. That is the
I
appropriate
reckon that's
response.
criminal.
Yes.
For those who are just listening, there was a very shocked and silent open mouth gasp.
Cut to it.
Yeah. And that is now a meme.
So that's really
so
not
at our
okay.
ride gathering, we are harbouring a criminal. As you were saying.
Next day chips are not, they just, no.
No, they're no good.
Even if you like chuck them in the air fryer, it just doesn't really
Doesn't
work,
work, no.
you know.
It doesn't work.
Not really.
Have you tried that in the air fryer?
I think I have.
You've like been really wanting to have.
I think I've tried it like, my mum's like put chips in the fridge and I'm like, well, who's going to eat that?
What are you
Then-
doing, Mum? Yeah.
Yeah, and then chuck them in the air fryer.
Give it
but
a
just-
refry.
It's not the same.
No.
So
It's just never the
it's
same.
twice cooked.
Because I feel like the potatoes like dried out from the fridge or something. It's just like a bit gross.
Yeah, something happens to it when it gets cold. Maybe
Yeah,
the
it's
oil
like
or
just-
something. Yeah, it's not.
Something scientific happens.
We'll check in with Luca later on.
Yeah.
Luca's offshoot
We'll
podcast.
get him in.
Yeah.
Explain
it
the
down.
astrophysics of
Yeah.
cold chips. Yeah.
Astrophysics.
Yeah.
That's
Chips in
crazy.
space.
Chips in
I think you might be a little bit misled there.
Even Chloe can tell you that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just saying astrophysics is not your interest. That you're not. I wasn't saying you were dumb.
Oh no, I'm really bad at science too.
Oh, what are you good at then? You told us you were bad at geography.
Ooh,
Lots of things.
maybe English I was good at school.
Excellent.
I can do English.
I can do English.
Anything that just is like I don't know. I liked like some bits of science, but like the very basic bits, and then the rest just went.
Yeah.
Just can't get
I
it.
was like that with physics.
But also, I always got sent out of the classroom in science.
Oh, do tell.
Because I apparently laugh too loud. I think I don't laugh too loud now, but in high school, I was like a whack the table laugh.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it was like and I apparently distracted too many people. So my teacher, a couple times, I want to say like 2 or 3 times, sent me outside and I had to like run around the chapel 10 times to get energy out.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't even have diagnosed ADHD or anything, but apparently I had too much energy.
Go for a run.
I had to like go run, yeah. And it was like, I was like, this is child torture, but I just don't like running. So, but yeah, that happened a few times.
How often do you get sent out? Because
Well, sometimes I just left,
oh,
like in maths, because my maths teacher was
Without
not.
being told. Like you just stood up and walked out.
Yeah, I just leave.
Right.
My maths teacher like wasn't really always there. Like
physically
mentally.
or physically or mentally? Yeah.
mentally. And so I just like would walk out and just like no one noticed. I don't know. I just needed a little break sometimes.
Right.
It was the energy thing. Had too much.
What year were you in when you were doing this kind of behaviour?
All of them.
All? Really?
No, it was probably like, I feel like I could get away with it more in like year 10 to 12.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you're doing this in year
Yeah.
7, that's
But I mean,
surprising.
science, I didn't do that for like later high school. So that would have been max year 10. But I just think I didn't really love science. So I just had to get sent out all the time because I was just distracting everyone else. Yeah. And I wasn't good at it. So,
And there's Bunsen burners on.
but I would
going.
rather be in the science classroom than running around the chapel 10 times.
Yeah.
Because that was the most running I'd ever done.
I was just thinking about, like, I got sent out quite a few times. More just for talking and being...
Yeah.
Doing
Mine was
accents?
like being loud and
maybe.
talking.
There's a few of them.
Yeah, mine was being loud and talking. It was just like, just leave, get some
Yeah.
energy out.
But it's so boring being sent out. I'm like standing in this stupid hallway with all the
Oh,
other
but I
classes
was
are going
stood
on.
like at the window, like,
More
Yeah.
distracting.
and then it's like it's a bit counterintuitive
Yeah.
because then I'm like distracting people.
I remember a guy once that got sent out and he was like, you know, at the old high schools, you know, public high
I
schools.
might not know this.
But they have these like louvered windows, but at the top. So they would be open
Right.
to let air out, in or out. And the guy started like just pushing things through it, like through the whole lesson that had been sent out. He like pushed something, like pushed a whole, you know, like a box that holds paper.
Yeah.
It's obviously storing something. He's like pushed that off a cupboard
Oh my gosh.
onto the floor. Yeah, this is what happens in a public high school. You guys wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know.
No, that's what I mean. Is that right, Hudson? Is that right, Luca? Yeah, see? Yeah, we're from the streets.
Okay, that's a bit crazy.
Anyway,
How did we
Next.
get here?
it's your fault. You talked about science.
Oh, science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, second question.
Second question.
How did you become a Christian?
This is like not a easy answer.
Okay.
But I mean, I grew up in the church and with Christian parents, so I was used to going to church and stuff. I hated church because I liked it when I was little, in kids' church because I kind of grew up with those kids, and then we moved churches, and I want to say I was like in year 6, so probably like 12 years old, and everyone at my new church went to my school. But there was no, like, everyone had people in their grades because it was, like, very close to my school. But I didn't have anyone in my grade that went to that church. Okay. And so because everyone had friends or people from their grades, it was very, like, they had their friends. So I hated church. I never really went to kids' church there, I think. I, like, pretty much just sat with my parents and was bored. So I didn't like it because no one really talked to me. But then high school was probably a bit different. I want to say, I remember hearing a talk at school because we'd have like chapel, every
You went to
fortnight.
St. George Christian, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We'd have like chapel every fortnight. And it was like talking about if your life reflects what you believe. And I would have said like I was a Christian the whole time, but I don't think I've really got that. And I feel like that kind of struck me, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I just think I hadn't thought of that before. That was probably like year 7 or year 8. And I feel like that sat with me for a while, but I didn't really do anything about it. And then I would say I think it was year 9. Oh no, it would have been year 10. Year 9, people from my church started talking to me. That sounds so sad.
Is there
But
also,
like-
surely you had played a part in this too, though? Like you didn't want to talk to them?
Yeah, well, it was just like they already had their friends. It was just a bit intimidating.
A bit kind of clicky.
Yeah,
Being the new
very
kid
clicky.
in the
Yeah.
coming
Well, I wasn't
in.
even new at this point. It was just like I'd been there. I was like always sat with my parents, never went to the kids' church or like wherever. And then year 9, the pastor from my church at the time was like, there was, I feel like a few other kids like me that were like not really included with the rest because like I didn't have anyone from my grade, but some people from like other schools, right? And he was like kind of pushing the adolescents to be like, oh, you should include everyone, that sort of thing. So I think he kind of helped them talk to me, and then I was included all of a sudden. And then I loved church because people talked to me. I was super shy though. But they'd like hang out after church as well, and I got to do that, so I felt really cool. But then I was going to church just mostly for the social aspect. But in year 10, we got the opportunity to go on a mission trip with school to Vanuatu. And I knew I always wanted to do it because my dad, there was like a group of dads from the school that would go and help like build schools or just like help build stuff and do stuff for the communities.
Yep.
And my dad had gone, I think twice at this point. And so I was like, oh, I want to go because that's so cool. But I don't think I really grasped like the mission aspect of it. Like I was just like, oh, that's cool. You get to go overseas with like other people from school. That's fun. But when I went on that, I would say that probably transformed me the most because, well, one, I'd never done anything like that. But 2, it was just like it pushed me out of my comfort zone, and we'd have meetings every week, to plan the mission and what we were doing. And I think I was just like inspired by that. And I was like, oh, this is actually something I really like and actually something I do want to live by, not just like do it when I'm at church sort of thing. And then youth group played a big part in that too, because I started going to youth group probably year 9 probably as well. So it was like kind of year 9 and 10 I feel like were the most transformative years.
They are for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I feel like it was an ongoing battle of like just doing it on the weekends or for this mission trip and doing it in life as a whole, like, which I mean is just a lifelong battle. But yeah, it was, I think going on that mission trip, I remember going in being like, I'm not going to share my testimony because I don't like public speaking. I was like, I'm not doing that. That's too scary. And then I ended up somehow volunteering to share my testimony to like this whole boarding school of girls. So it was like a lot of them, and I loved it. And then I just think, I don't know what it was about that trip, but I think I just came away being like, I actually want to commit my life to this. And like seeing how, because we went to a lot of schools in Vanuatu to do, like we'd do like, I think someone would share a testimony and like one of the teachers would do like a little talk, but then we'd also just like hang out with them and like help with their classes or like play, like run a sports program or something like that. And I think seeing how they were so inspired by us sharing our testimonies and our stories and that sort of like sharing the Bible with them, and they were like so excited about it. It's like they've only heard about it a few times or something. I was like, I've heard this my whole life. I never had that excitement, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that like pumped me up. And then, yeah, I think I just like started actually taking it seriously.
What do you think, like if you're saying you took it seriously, what do you think was different from before that time when you decided to commit?
I think I didn't fully get it.
Okay.
Like I was like, oh yeah, I understand. Like I think I knew, you know, how God wanted us to act and be and that sort of thing. Like I knew the what, but I didn't know the why. Like I feel like I didn't know, well, why do I have to be nice to people? Or why do I have to not swear or whatever it was?
It's kind of like you knew the rules.
Yeah.
But not the,
like I
like
had
you're
the
saying, not the why.
knowledge, but I didn't really get the conviction bit of it or like that sort of thing. And then I think going there and even just being, because it was probably a group of like 20 or more students, and like we obviously all became quite close, and just like doing mission together and seeing them, but then also seeing how the people of Vanuatu were like inspired by us. I think I just was like, oh, I think I get it now. Like we do this, you know, other people can look in and be like, there's something different about them, or like I can see how God shapes their lives, sort of thing. But yeah, and then I think it just kind of slowly, it was almost like the pieces of the puzzle were getting filled in. Yeah.
Like the outline was there of the puzzle.
Yes.
And then it started,
it just like didn't have the inside.
Like, it was making sense to you, I feel like.
Yeah. Like I definitely knew the what, like, because I'd grown up hearing it all. But I just kind of was like, okay, cool. I'm a Christian. I believe there's a God.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the extent of it. Or I remember also thinking in school, because like obviously I went to a Christian school, so you hear it every single day. I'd be like, oh yeah, like different talks of like, you know, like don't swear or like whatever it is, whatever topic it was, like how you should live as a Christian. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Like one day, it almost felt like I didn't really need to do it right now.
Oh, like
sort of
when I'm ready kind of thing.
Yeah, like, but it just like seemed like a lot of effort too. I feel like.
But it's a lot of effort if it's just rules.
Yes,
isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you got the conviction.
Yeah, I think I just didn't have that conviction or like, have that why of why I wanted to do it.
Yeah, right.
But once it kind of started filling in the puzzle, then I was like, I get it.
Yeah, and that makes sense because there's a similar story that some other people that have grown up in Christian households, they're like, yeah, I knew it all.
Yeah.
And it is often around that 8, 9, 10 period where they're like, oh, I have to take this on for myself.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, that's what I'm hearing you saying.
Yeah, it's like you have all the knowledge, but just because you have the knowledge doesn't mean you're a Christian, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I knew that. I just assumed like I go to church every week, I have Christian friends, I go to a Christian school, and I believe there's a God.
It's almost like all you knew.
Yeah.
To an extent, but then you have to be transformed as well, like you're saying.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So just to rewind a little bit though, like where are you growing up? What area? What area are you in? What postcode?
Well, we lived in Bexley.
Oh yeah.
And I went to Bexley North Anglican. I think it maybe is not called that anymore. But that's where I went when I was a kid. And then we moved to San Susie. And so then we moved churches because it was like a little bit further. And we went to Park Road Anglican, which was also called St. Cuthbert's, which was also called, I don't know. It had a lot of
names.
There was like this time where like, I think the name changed like 3 times. I don't know. It was really confusing. Yeah. Okay. But it's Park Road Anglican now.
Oh, is it because it's on Park Road?
Yes.
Okay. It'd be confusing if it wasn't on Park Road.
Yeah, that would be really weird.
That's the church my mum went to when she was a kid.
Oh.
And the church that they got married at. My parents.
Wow.
Parents got married
At
there.
St. Cuthbert's.
Yeah,
St.
that's what it would have
Cuthbert's at
been.
the
St.
time.
Cuthbert's.
Yep.
St. Cuthbert sounds very English.
Yeah, I don't know who Cuthbert was.
Yeah, who is
I don't know. I'll have to fact check
I have
that
no
one.
idea. But there was also, there was a time where I think they just put the two together and it was like St. Cuthbert's Park Road Anglican or something.
Oh gosh.
Ah,
And it
right.
was just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There was like this a few years where it was just,
Maybe the older
name
saints
was super
wanted to keep
confusing.
St. Cuthbert's, but other
yeah,
people were like,
because they did have a traditional church service at like 8:30 in the morning
yeah, okay.
where I think people who like grew up in that church
Mm.
and were old now wanted to like keep things.
Yeah. Well, yes, we can get into that later on the shock absorber probably, but that's not
Sure.
not the time for it now. So, grew up in Bexley.
Yeah.
You moved to San Susie.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do people mispronounce San Susie that you know? San Susie.
No.
I haven't. Okay.
I've never
Are you
heard
close to the beach at San Susie then?
Yeah, I was like 3-minute walk
That's pretty
to
good.
the beach. But I don't really like that beach. There's like a
It's
lot
not
of
the great.
stingrays.
Yeah, it's not the greatest beach.
Yeah,
there.
it's like, and there was a lot of stingrays. Yeah. And I've been stung by one as well.
I was going to
don't
say, have you been stung by one?
Yes. But in Gunnemutter. I walked with my friend, I left my phone at my bag and we walked like around the corner and I stepped on one. And I didn't see it. And I was literally in ankle deep water. And I was like, oh, something really hurt. And then I was like, ow, this actually like really, really hurts. And I was like to my friend, something just bit me or something. Because I had no idea. Like I literally didn't see anything. And it was like so shallow. And she was like, oh, it was probably just a crab. And I was like, I don't think so. And then I was like, there was like this deep hole in my foot. I have a scar from it.
Really?
There's like an indent in my foot, like a little indent where the
Goodness.
barb went in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people were like, oh, did you go to the hospital? No.
Oh.
Instead, we called my friend's mum and I went to her house
Oh.
because she lived nearby. And then I called my mum because I knew my mum would freak out. But but I posted it on my Snapchat story because it was like,
Nice.
hello, I just got stung by a stingray. That's so cool.
Mm.
And then
Super cool.
my brother saw it and showed my mum. And then my mum's like calling me being like, what's going on? So yeah.
Was the barb stuck in there or was it just...
No, it didn't break
just
off,
go-
thank goodness. But
Oh.
there's like toxins. So like what you have to do if it happens. Well,
yes.
first of all, I was putting ice on it because like that relieved it, but
Yeah.
that's not what you do.
Yes.
You're meant to put your foot in like the hottest water you can take and keep it being the hottest water you can take because that gets the toxins out.
All right.
So I had to do that for like hours when I got home.
Just keep boiling the kettle.
Yeah, and just like sitting with my foot in a bucket, and you have to keep it as hot as you can take because then it gets the toxins out. So I think I did that for like three hours or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So don't put ice on it. But the ice helped relieve it for a bit. But the barb didn't break off. But the only thing is like, because it's obviously their barbs are like got bacteria and stuff, you can get an infection. My dad's a doctor, so he just like treated it and that was that.
We will have to get your dad on one day because his story is wild.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
I have not.
Fee
no.
actually like said that she was like, oh, you should like, you would be really good to get on there. And he was like, oh yeah. He would love it.
But
He's like
he-
me, he likes to be in front of a camera.
Oh, does he? Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
I think so.
Well, a quick preview though. He came via boat to Australia,
Yes.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went by boat to Malaysia while they were waiting till they could get to Australia, like whatever approved, and then came. But like, yeah, the boat ride's crazy. Like they had to chuck people off board because they passed away, like crazy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave that.
Yeah, we won't
for
spoil
another
it.
time. But yeah, it's a hectic story. So one thing you said before we started recording though, that you were a bit rebellious at school.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that and why do you think that was? And are you rebellious now?
No. I think I still have that side of me that wants to sometimes.
Okay.
To be fair, I was a teenager, so I just like to use that as my excuse.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, but
Get a jail free
I think
card.
I just wanted to be cool, and I was a bit obnoxious,
Okay.
and most of my friend group at school wasn't Christian, which I think had a big part in it too. I think I was just rebellious in that I would just like leave the classroom and get distracted and distract people. And like our school, you weren't allowed to have more than one earring, and I like just went and got
I can
my
see
ears
two now.
pierced. Yeah, I have like 7 or something. And like you weren't allowed to dye your hair, but then I dyed my hair. I just liked breaking the rules. But then as soon as I got out of school, I was like, oh, there's no rules to break. This is so boring.
That's really fascinating.
I liked like the thrill of it.
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But I feel like also at school, like my school was quite small. It was like probably 80 people in the year. So like everyone knew everyone. And I feel like there were very much those like typical cliques.
Yeah.
I feel like I was in the cool girl clique. I can say that now.
So you're quite happy with that?
Yeah,
At the time.
I think I peaked in high school. I think I'm that person. But at least I can admit it.
That's true.
Yeah. But I think that had a big play in it.
The group that you were in?
Yes.
And then is it the rebellious kind of got you attention from them?
Yeah. Yeah. But also just like, that's just what we all did. So it was
You've
just
all been
kind
rebellious and all
of,
pushing boundaries and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, I don't mean to harp on it, but I find it quite fascinating. So, like, as soon as you finish school, you're like, oh, there's no rules to break anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I think also when I finished school, I had a gap year, and it was 2020, so I didn't do anything. But
Oh, wow. Okay.
what a
Yeah.
gap year.
but like I was gonna go to Vanuatu
Again?
because back to. They have like the family have, it's just falling. They have like a campsite, sort of mission campsite thing that I was going to live at for like 3 months and do, just like help out the schools, help with their church. I don't know, just do mission over there and live over there and have a break, which obviously did not happen. So that was my plan for that year. What was the question again?
Oh, I was just talking about like why you wanted to be rebellious and there was no rules. So you're like,
Yeah,
I
I think I left school and then it was like, I wasn't as close with those friends. Like I don't really have heaps of friends now from school. And I think I was just like, what's the point? Like, I think at school, like having teachers be like, you can't do this, you can't do that, made me want to do it.
Watch me.
Yes, exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where that mentality came from.
Yeah.
But as soon as I left school, it was like, no one's really telling you what you can and can't do. Which maybe for some people would go the opposite way. But I was like, oh, okay. Like I just...
So you don't feel like you rebel now against social expectations, like everyone's doing this song and consciously do the opposite or...
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I just didn't like my teachers. Like, I don't know.
They should take it personally.
I think I was a very different person in high school to what I am now. Like very different. Like even like first year out of high school, I feel like I was very different to how I am now.
What do you think? Yeah, what do you put that down to though? That's what interests me.
I think I just matured in my faith a lot, to be honest. And kind of that thing of like I knew how God wants us to live as Christians, and I knew how I was living, and I was like, well, that's not matching up.
There's a big difference or something.
Yeah, and I think stepping away from school and COVID, like everyone was locked down, I like feel like I had more time to reflect on that and more time to take it seriously, and I wasn't distracted by like boys at school or like anything. Like I was just like at home and was like, I think I also was like, this is the start of my adult life and I don't want it to go down a path that I know isn't right. So I was like, I need to take it seriously now. So I feel like just stopping school, I was like, okay, now it's like serious. So it kind of kickstarted a lot more.
It's interesting that though, even though after school you were thinking mission, like
Yeah.
even in that sort of before you're matured over that year, you were already thinking I want to go and spend some of my gap year in mission though.
Yes.
Where did that impulse come from?
I think a lot of it came from going on that mission trip in year 10 and being like, I just loved it. I just had so much fun. And I guess I got that conviction, I feel like, through that maybe.
It's a similar time, isn't it?
Yeah. And so I was like, I want to go back there and like almost relive it. Like obviously it'd be different, but yeah. But I think it was also this sort of thing of like, I didn't know what I wanted to do after school, but I knew I wanted to follow God. So
That's
why
cool.
not go and like help others become Christians and just do it in another setting, a different setting. Yeah.
Is it the same at church as well around that time? Like, I mean, I suppose it's COVID, wasn't it? So you didn't get to spend a lot of time with people.
No, but I had good friends at church, like, that had developed since people started talking to me. And I think looking back on it now, I'm like, a lot of going to church was like the social aspect, but slowly that changed a little bit. But then, COVID, I did go to church because I was helping with the live stream. But that was like, I just had nothing to do, so that was a social aspect, but like a bit different,
I can totally understand that because that's 2020 is when I came myself a Soul Revival. And so I was allowed to get out of the house.
Yeah, it was just such a...
And we would hang out quite a bit on
I
Fridays.
literally remember having like a piece of... Because I had to change LGAs.
Oh, yes.
Or something. And at one point that was like an issue.
Oh, you had to drive from one to the other.
Yeah, like even though it's 10 minutes from my house. And then, but because I was like helping with the live stream, I could get like this permission.
Yes, okay.
Like I literally had to carry a piece of paper to say I was allowed in that LGA.
Yeah, I think...
Which is
I
crazy.
think Karen, my wife, had the same because she had to work at St. George and she had to drive there during COVID to do supervision or something. But
And there was a time where crossing LGAs, if you were from
you had to stay within your LGA.
Yeah.
Yes, and
So
otherwise
wild.
your papers are not in order and you must be shot at the border.
Yes,
exactly. That's what I was so scared of.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Can I ask you though? You obviously went on mission, or you wanted to go, but that didn't happen.
No.
Sorry. Okay. So did you have a night? You said you wanted to have a gap year.
Yeah.
What did you fill that gap year with if you weren't going to be able to go to Vanuatu?
Literally doing the live stream for church. So that's how like I got involved with that. Because it was like, so Jamie was leading it, and I remember they were like asking people if they have cameras they could use, because it was like kind of everything got shut down and it was like a scram. And I had like a little GoPro they could use. So I think they use that for like a different angle or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, because everyone knew I wasn't studying and I was that year, and I was working as a swim teacher. So obviously I was not working because it was COVID.
Yes.
And so it was like, oh, do you want to help out? Because they needed helpers for it too. And I had the time and I was like, sure. And I did not know, I think I just pushed a button on the camera and just made sure it was in focus. But like, I was like, I get to go out of the house. So that's literally all I did, was literally help church run the live streams. And that's how I got so involved in it, because I kind of got involved from the start. And then as it developed to be a thing that we kept even when it wasn't locked down, that's how that.
But you kind of knew what you were doing to a degree, at least.
Yeah, I learnt a lot. Yeah. I learnt like more about production stuff, and I was like, oh, I like this. This is pretty fun.
Right.
Yeah. But that was pretty much that year.
It's interesting just how much everyone upskilled on digital technology at that time. Suddenly you got everyone knows how to use Zoom. Everyone's now a production manager.
Come on, it's not that hard to use Zoom.
Yeah.
But it was a skill that very few people had to learn before then, and now
true.
Everyone has now knows how to use it. And it's
just remember that judge that was a cat.
I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat.
No.
There's a judge. They had to do court cases online.
Oh.
It's like Zoom or Teams or something, and there's a judge, and he's got a cat filter on. Like, because it's his.
Why would he do that?
Well,
it was his
kid had been
assistant,
playing around.
or was it his assistant or something?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not a cat, I promise.
Yeah.
Like, it's obvious you're not a cat.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
How would you? I would not be able to take that seriously.
No, it's quite funny actually. There's all those things that were like when they're doing like that guy that had the news report. He's like on a news report and his kid runs in and he just like rips the kid out of the screen and like shuts
There
the
are a
door
lot
again.
of funny things like that.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. Working from home.
Excuse me.
Learning from home.
Oh gosh, I remember doing that with my kids. That was intense.
It is like depending on where people were at their stage of life, they might have a very different experience of COVID. So you had already finished school,
Yes.
and it was during that gap year. So any other reflections from that, gap year that didn't end up being what you thought, and all of that?
I was really disappointed because I was so excited, obviously.
Are you like that, Gen Z? Like, our life is ruined already.
Yes. That was perfect.
I do you really well, don't I?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, maybe I'll do it next year or whatever. But then that year, like everything was still so up in the air. It was just no point of planning anything.
Was this still wanting to go to Vanuatu? Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay.
But other reflections from that year. I mean, I would take. This is the first thing that came to my mind. I would take like a week lockdown right now. That would feel nice. Lock me down.
Put me in a.
Tell me that I don't have any responsibility.
Put me in the
Yeah,
cupboard.
just give me a week of isolation.
Yeah.
But
Really?
no, I don't think so. I think it in hindsight, it gave me a lot of time to reflect on my life and actually, like, what else were you doing at home? So I was like reading the Bible every day, praying every day. Like I was just very in it. And I feel like that really helped shape how the next few years turned out. So in hindsight, it was good. But at the time, it felt like a drag. But
Did you have any career aspirations once you finished school and after your gap year?
oh no, I'm not career driven.
It's okay.
I just don't want to work.
Wow, because there's rules. Is that why?
No, I just
You have to turn up.
yeah, I know it's a lot. I left school being like I think I want to do marketing, but I don't know. I'll figure it out in the year, and then like I ended up studying that. So I guess I did want to do that.
So you went to uni?
Yeah, UTS.
Oh.
I did 3 years there for Bachelor of Communications. I majored in social media and strategic communication, which is just PR or advertising or both. Yeah. So I do PR now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because you work for a PR company, don't you?
Yeah, an agency, and we do digital PR. Yeah. It's right. I wait, when is this episode coming out? Oh, whatever. No one's going to see it.
In a few
I think
weeks.
I'm looking
few
for a
weeks.
new role because I'm just a bit bored of our clients.
We can bleep that out later.
Nah, leave it in.
If you're listening to this and you've just come back from
If they've
a
listened this
musical
far-
interlude,
Yes.
No one from my work that I know is Christian, so if they've listened this far, that's good.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You've
I'll
got a
take
new. You changed your LinkedIn status to looking for new opportunities.
No, open to work? No.
Yeah, what is it? Open to
Open to
opportunities
work or something. Yeah,
something like
no. I'm just like,
it's a bit of a death knell.
yeah.
that. I know,
Say that
right?
on your
And especially if you've got all the connections from people at your work, they're like, oh, they're
I feel like
outside.
I feel like you can only do that if you're like unemployed or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Because like, yeah.
It's like being in a relationship
wild.
and changing your status to it's complicated.
It's complicated on Facebook or whatever it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
What?
Bit
Is it?
awkward.
I
didn't know that.
My work is complicated. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, you said that you were your faith was really strengthening that time. Is that the same where you're at uni as well? And like being a Christian, is that different being at school compared to being a Christian at uni? Is there a real difference in that?
I went to a Christian school, so it wasn't like a taboo subject to talk about religion, or like, I guess most people would have said they were a Christian because they believed in God, but like obviously not everyone is at a Christian school. But then going to uni where everyone has all different religions and all different beliefs, and like the teachers would swear at the front of the classroom. Like, not like crazy, but like it wasn't like I went to a Christian school, like obviously teachers are not doing that. It was just like a bit of a culture shock maybe. Probably not too crazy because I straight away got involved with Credo at UTS, which is the Christian group.
Oh, okay.
So I like made Christian friends at uni, and went to a Bible study.
Well, you sounded really excited about that. A Bible study. See,
I was trying to think of what else I did. They would do talks every week called Prime, where they have like a speaker, like
Logan Paul.
Like a what?
Logan Paul, because Prime is his drink. Sorry.
No.
That was bad.
That was.
Really
that would be crazy.
Logan Paul's here.
He's here for a Christian talk. He.
That would be so dumb.
No, I'm talking about Logan Paul. I just said he. No, they would do talks, like different topic talks and stuff every week, where if you could go, you'd go. I only went to that for my last year, but because I always had classes on. But yeah, I would do I was pretty involved, I'd say.
Yeah.
Which I think helped balance out like going to uni classes and and because I did communications, like some of our electives are a bit interesting, like gender studies and stuff like that. And there was a very wide variety of people in communications as well. So it was challenging, like, I guess, in the classes, sometimes when topics would come up and stuff, and I'm like, well, my view on this is different to what they're even teaching.
Yeah.
Or like what everyone else is saying and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was too scared. Like, I would just stay quiet. But I did make friends in my uni classes as well. And like, I was open about being Christian to them. And like, it was chill. Like, it's not like, oh, I think I expected like to say like, be like, oh, I'm a Christian, and people be like, oh, why? Or like,
how dare you?
Like, oh, so you believe this and that's wrong. Or like, I don't know, people to be more critical. And I was like, oh, people aren't, which I think helped make me more bold about just saying like, I'm a Christian. Like,
So there's a general sense in the environment kind of mildly hostile to Christianity, but the people weren't. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, like, I mean, some people I'm sure were, but yeah, like I think I thought people would be more hostile.
Right.
But because like I didn't know what to expect because I went to a Christian school. Like, everyone kind of just said they were Christian, and like it wasn't a taboo topic. Like,
can I ask you, is that the kind of if you're looking back, is it a kind of a sheltered experience going to a Christian school? I'm only asking for mine.
yeah,
Like,
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I went to the same school as well from kindergarten to year 12.
Right.
So like, I never moved schools or anything. Like, I never had any other experience at school. It was like that. And I liked that, but also I do think it was a bit sheltered.
Do you think though it also equipped you also to be able to talk about being a Christian as well? Because everything is taught from a Christian worldview.
Yeah, I think it made me scared of when I got out of that everything is a Christian worldview to like the secular world, that like I was like, oh, I don't know how people will respond to it or what people would think.
Which would have informed.
At school, like everything was like, Christian is just, it is what it is. Like,
which is what informed your thoughts around when you went to uni.
Yeah.
Of thinking that people might be pretty hostile because it was so different.
Because I was like, I don't know what to expect. And I think I had like a lot of school would be like, when you get to uni, it's going to be very different than it is here, sort of thing. Maybe that like scared me a bit as well. But it wasn't that crazy. Like it wasn't
Just
scary.
different. Just different.
Yeah, just different and just more variety of people. But I think it was pretty good. Like I also did walk up at uni sometimes.
What's that?
Like literally walk up evagelism.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I like doing walk up. And that was like super interesting because I think Credo had a good approach to it. It wasn't like Bible bashing. It was like, oh, what do you believe? This is what I believe, and just conversations. But that was interesting because I've done walk up for, I used to go to Port Mac Beach Mission and we did it there. So I feel like I did it before, but it's interesting. I feel like it's so different now because like a lot of young people are just like taught you can be whoever you want to be, sort of like I don't know, it's just a lot of like nothing matters except for what you think sort of thing.
You do.
So it's like interesting talking to young people about that. But yeah, I think I was like uni wasn't as scary as I expected it to be in terms of like Christianity or being a Christian. But there were still times where I was like, I don't want to talk about this in class. It makes me feel uncomfortable because my views are different.
Yep.
Or that sort of thing.
Or you feel like you might be like the only one with those views.
Yes,
Yeah.
I definitely felt like that sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
There's a lot of social commentators at the moment and a lot of statistics that come out saying that your generation is quite spiritually open and not hostile. Did you experience that? Were people curious about Christian things?
Yeah, I actually did. I remember talking to a girl who, I think she was Hindu, but she was like super open to it. Like I think she came to one of the Christian talks, like Prime, and like I think I was like, I haven't had heaps of experience with like people from other religions, and so I just expected them to be like, no, I believe this, you're wrong, shut down. But like, yeah, they were open to it. They're open to come to it, and I think I also learned that a lot more people are like, they are questioning like the meaning of life or big things like that, especially around uni age, which I kind of feel like I didn't expect that. Like I thought most people were just like, I'm happy with how I am, whatever. Like I didn't think people were thinking, what do I believe in, or how was the world created or something. But I did encounter people who were pondering those questions.
Yeah, right.
Which was interesting. Yeah, but people were very open to it, like a lot more than you'd think.
Yeah. And it creates some really great opportunities for Credo and other sort of uni-based, Christian groups to be engaged in that stage of life.
Yeah, I think they're really good.
Yeah.
Can I ask you another sociological question?
Ooh.
Related.
Okay.
Tim might enjoy this. So recently, I listened to a podcast with, and Tim's listened to this one too, a Gen Z writer by the name of Freya India. She's like 24, 25, and she's like a big writer on Substack. And she was saying that the statistics are showing that more men in Generation Z, we call it Zoomers, are going to church or to religious institutions more than women now, which hasn't been the case for ages. I suppose my question is, do you think that's true? Like, have you observed that around your age, or do you think it's just an anomaly? Like, what do you think?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've observed that too much. But what I will say is, moving from my old church to Soli's, I was like, there's a lot more young men here than my old church was a lot more young women. Like, obviously there were young men, but I feel like it was more dominated by females. Whereas here I was like, it's more like the young aspect is more dominated by men.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
And I think because I've like visited my friends' churches, and when I was looking to move churches, like visit around, and I never saw that anywhere else. which is interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah.
But I think that's the only sort of observation I have on that.
So one of the and that's really interesting to say that, because
Yeah.
that is kind of the accepted thing in churches, is there are like probably more young women than men, right? And then hearing this from this podcast I was listening to was like, oh, that's really interesting. One of her theories was because, you know how you kind of talked about the you to you kind of thing, but there's a lot of that is kind of like, also we're happy to put labels on ourselves a lot more in terms of like, I don't know what it would be, but like, I'm this, so therefore I don't have to change. And her theory was, because they're like, being a Christian, you talked about there being rules. There are kind of rules, but God says there are ways to live, and he thinks that's the best way to live.
Yeah.
That men are appreciating that there are boundaries, and they're appreciating that's the case, but women find them really limiting now. That was her theory, because then they can't put labels on themselves.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know if that's true, but that's why I'm fascinated to hear what your opinion would be, because I don't know if that's true, to be honest.
Yeah, I think from my uni experience and like Credo had a very outward focus, like trying to get more people just like interested, or like just questioning God and if there's a God, that sort of thing. I think I did find the women a bit more like judgmental about it, like about if you're a Christian generally.
Really?
Men were just like a bit more like, okay, like they didn't, if that makes sense. But I don't know if that's just my experience, because I'm a female, and so when I talked to females, I just felt more judged or what.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's interesting.
But that is very interesting.
Yeah. We'll keep that in your thoughts, anyway, even everyone that's listening. But I only heard it recently, and so like I'm like, that's really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of, the pattern is playing out, like you're saying, at Sorrow Bible to a degree, like in terms of youth leaders and stuff. So I'd be fascinated to see if that is one of the reasons anyway. But I think that's a good time to end for part 1.
Okay.
We've got plenty more to talk about in part 2. Have you got a cliffhanger we could leave this episode on?
A cliffhanger?
You did say it's like, have you prepared you for the years to come? Before. You said that your faith got stronger, which prepared you for the years to come.
Well, one cliffhanger is we've had a name drop.
A name drop?
Yeah.
Jamie.
You mentioned Jamie.
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
And he's
Logan
joining
Paul
us.
is back. Here he is, bringing the
There he is. Welcome
Bring him
formula for
in.
prime.
Yeah, Jamie.
Jamie, that's a
Jamie, I
cliffhanger.
love you. Okay.
Big life event.
Yes.
Cliffhanger?
Yeah, there's a number of life events.
Yes.
We'll leave it there, yeah. We'll wait for the big life event in episode 2, or part 2. And we'll finish.
Episode part 2.
Well, I was going to say
that did
episode,
not
but it's episode 164, I think.
Part 2.
163. But it's part 2 of Chloe's. So we'll leave it at that. And we'll see you next week. And our clothes might change, our clothes might not change if you're watching on YouTube. One way.
I did not bring a